welcome back to Eastenders Weekly, your one and only weekly podcast all about Eastenders. This week we'll be discussing episodes from the 30th of July to the 3rd of August. We're going over 2 months.
Yeah, I had to think about that then. I just sat there and thought, what are we doing?
It's one of those ones again. So yes, I am Ben and I'm back with Alex. Hello.
Hello, good day to you all. Hope anyone in the UK is enjoying the sunshine. It's back after a horrible weekend last weekend.
It is. It's very hot.
Nice and sunny out.
Muggy. Sunny on the square as well, I've noticed this week.
Maybe they've
good.
reshot a few scenes because the continuity probably wouldn't have been too hot.
So we're going to start off with talking about the Slaters this week, because they've been up to all sorts of mischief. Mainly Hayley.
Well, in particular, yes, Hayley and Jean. So they took the spotlight this week over the Hayley's baby storyline. Hayley's baby. That sounds like a film. Anyway,
Hayley's Comet.
Yeah, so the christening is a go, and
finally,
as we presumed, after a couple of days, and as we presumed, Martin is nowhere to be seen, and he's turning up late, drunk or half cut after his lads' weekend with Kush and Robbie.
I mean, he was really bad out of the three boys. He was the worst off.
I mean, his eyes were all red, and he
couldn't even button up his shirt.
He was all untucked. Robbie was meant to be the best man. Not the best man. It's not a wedding. Was meant to be the godfather. But I don't remember seeing Robbie at the church.
Yeah, he was there because he had the funny joke of hope less.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
You probably
now.
just blanked it out.
I just wanted to blank that out of my mind. Yes, I really did.
Yeah, because Martin had made him godfather without speaking to Stacey about it,
and Stacey had made Kat godmother. But Kat was running a bit behind and wasn't getting to the church when she was meant to arrive.
She was feeling all sentimental about her own kids, wasn't she? And was phoning Alfie saying, "Please let me talk to her."
Well, yeah, Hayley and Kat had a bit of a conversation. Kat opened up to Hayley and said that she felt guilty being the godmother, and she felt a bit like a hypocrite from basically leaving Alfie on his own to look after the kids. And so, roaming around the square whilst getting onto the tube, she phoned up Alfie's phone and begged him if she could speak to at least, anyone, Bert, Ernie or Tommy.
Who phoned? Someone phoned her back though.
Well, Tommy phoned back, and Tommy,
her favourite son. Yeah,
and Tommy said, "Oh, that's okay. I'm glad you phoned. It'll be our little secret." So Tommy's obviously been told by Alfie not to phone Mummy anymore because Mummy's a bad woman.
She is.
But also Alfie's got that dirty little secret with Hayley.
He has, which will come out in force soon.
Oh yes.
So we're at the christening, and Hayley's just washed her hair.
Yes.
So she's not going to the
she's not going. She was dead set she wasn't going to the christening, despite Jean's begs and woes that she really should go to a christening. She should see what it's all about, ready for her own baby. Although Hayley made it quite clear to the baby in her tummy that she was not getting any, or he was not getting any christening for that one.
No. And it's funny because Jean was getting all up huppy because she couldn't find the christening dress, so they had to leave without it. And then Hayley took the towel off her head, and was it in her towel?
Well, we couldn't really work it out, could we? Whether it was sat next to the towel or in the towel, but really it was in a big clump on the sofa within the towel. Yeah. So she must have picked up. Was the dress put in the airing cupboard, or put in a pile of? Was it put underneath on the radiator?
Did Hayley think it was like a linen lining towel that she was on her head or something?
A fancy
silky hair.
I mean, to Hayley, anything is fancy, isn't it? A cup of tea made
a shower.
A shower is fancy. But so she once she realizes that the dress was there, good for her, she decides to go to the church and
she just washed it, didn't she? I guess
she's washed it with her own hair. Yeah. I mean, so the dress is going to be really damp and a bit wet, but Hope needs to wear it, and plus they splashed the baby's head anyway, so it's all fine.
I mean, the common as muck christening was going ahead, and the vicar was getting more and more annoyed by the Slater.
Well, because they were hopping from one person to the next of who was meant to be the
Kat
godmother.
Hadn't turned up.
Kat hadn't turned up because she was busy talking to Tommy on the phone. So they were hopping from one to the next. Mo was brought up as a suggested godmother, and Martin looked up and said, "I don't want Mo to be Hope's spiritual guide." And it was just brilliant. They just go to the shot, and everyone turned around and looked at Mo, expecting Mo to be a bit upset by this, and she just went, "Fair."
I don't know if any of them are suited for godmother, apart from Jean, but she didn't want to do it. Too much pressure.
But Jean's the grandmother. You don't want, it's, I suppose. But Jean was really pushing.
Well, we know how old Big Mo is now, so.
Well, yes. Shock delivery of that
she
later
looks
in
great.
the week.
It's funny that she actually looks fantastic, so.
It's all the work she's had to work her whole life. They say retirement is what ages you.
Dot can take some notes from Big Mo.
Where is Dot?
Upstairs.
Yeah, upstairs.
She didn't even go to the christening.
No, I know. Was she invited?
No.
Sonia wasn't invited.
No.
Sonia's not going. So Kat eventually does turn up. It was after Hayley had been convinced by Jean to be the godmother.
Yeah, because she was really reluctant to begin with. But Jean sort of talked around, and just as she talks around, Kat appears and takes over. Although Kat didn't seem that bothered either. Really?
Well, yeah, when they said, "Oh, Hayley's doing it now,"
she was like, "Okay." But then Stacey did her little talk and said, "You're the only person I'll trust in the whole wide world with my baby."
Thank goodness you've arrived. And quite rightly so, Hayley is a bit upset that she's kind of, because she didn't even want to be part of the christening, and then she was shoehorned into the christening,
and then replaced.
And then and then straight away, as soon as the better offer came along, she's always the second choice, isn't she? Poor Hayley.
Yeah.
So Hayley
Her
goes.
Whole upbringing's been like that.
Yeah, she's always come second.
So she goes home in a strop, and they go to E20 for their cheap party.
Which Mel said that they had a few bubbles behind the bar for them.
One bottle.
I thought it was just a glass.
No, one bottle behind the bar for Stace.
Mel really has pushed the boat out.
But Stace was like, she was waiting for like less than 5 seconds at the bar for Billy. She was like, "Am I going to get a drink or not?" All right, Stacey. It's
Slater. Once a Slater enters the room, all attention on Slater.
Yeah. So this is when Hayley announces to Jean that she's pregnant, and a bit of the secret is out because Jean goes over to get Hayley.
Yes, Hayley is contemplating drinking some gin, and then shaking, she pours the gin down the sink, knowing better than to do that. And Jean has a bit of go of her, saying she's her own worst enemy. Why is she not spending time with them at the E20? They do want you there. And she says, "Oh, you'll make a lovely mum." And then Hayley's like that. Yeah, one day, but that day is now. And so Jean is now part of her plan. They're now in cahoots. And Jean won't let her forget that she gave her the information, because then throughout the week, Jean continues to try to put
her on a health kick.
So yes, that's how the next episode begins, isn't it? Through a vitamin C fruit and veg health
smoothies, healthy fruit.
I mean, I bet Martin had his hands rubbing together when he saw Jean coming towards his
Jean
fruit
probably
and veg
asked
store.
it for free, though. She probably asked for a freebie.
Favours.
Yeah. Freebie for Martin still. He won't make that £2 now. So, this is when... I thought this was a bit weird, because obviously Kat wants to go on the moped to learn the roads and things. And Hayley announces that she's got a moped licence or driving licence, so she can do it. But it's a bit like, why did Hayley offer to do it? Surely she knows that that's dangerous. Yeah, but she try and act like she doesn't care? I thought it was a bit strange.
I think she wants to bond with Kat because she's trying to find an in to tell Kat that potentially she's having her husband's baby.
Guilty.
Yeah, at the same time, I think although she's relieved that someone else now knows the information, she's kind of realised it's Jean who knows the information. And Jean was piling on so much, like, you need to have this, you need to start eating healthy, you need to do that and the other, that Hayley, she's almost still a teenager, isn't she? It's like if a parent tells you not to do something...
she's rebelling, isn't she?
You want to do it. So Hayley saw that as an opportunity to kind of get in and kind of leave the house with Jean's watchful eye all the time. Obviously against Jean's wishes, because when she said, I can ride a moped, Jean was like, no, you can't. Straight away.
Yeah, well, Jean's worst fears came true because they did fall off.
They did.
And Hayley took the brunt of it as well.
Yes. Kat must have fallen on her.
God.
I mean, she did say it was only a small bump. But like I say, Jean was right to be so worried.
Oh, yeah. So look what happened.
Well, quite.
So she's having sort of pains later on in the day. Hayley is.
Yeah, she's getting cramps.
And Kat's the one that makes her go to the hospital. She said no to Jean, but can't say no to Kat.
Well, Jean says she's been a silly Billy and that they need to... She hasn't said no to Jean about going to the hospital. She just kind of said, oh, it's nothing. It's just a kicking. But Jean, I don't think, suggested the hospital. But Kat was the one who saw her in... Like, she was bent over in pain in the lounge, wasn't she? And so Kat calls a cab to the hospital. I wondered if Kat used this as an opportunity to learn some more of the knowledge.
Yeah, she
as
could take it all from the cab, couldn't she?
Yeah.
Put it on her work expenses. So they're at the hospital and Hayley and Kat are having like a chat about how they were mates in Spain and this, that and that. And Hayley sort of says something to her which upsets her. She sort of shouts at her in front of everyone.
Well, she calls Kat a tart.
Yeah.
She does. And again, almost like a child. I don't think the Slaters have ever grown up because they always resort to like a very childlike state when they're
None
upset.
of them have had a good childhood, have they? So
no. Well,
they've kept in their childhood.
Oh no, I was going to say Kat had an okay one, but then I'm just remembering, remember
the full moon?
Yes, I do remember now. I do remember. Yes, not so hot.
Yeah. So she shouts at her in the great Slater shouting.
And Hayley then is a bit of a loose end because she realises, actually, I do want someone here. This is a bit of a tricky situation I'm in. And she suddenly realises Mummy Jean, when she looks in her bag and finds a bottle of vitamins that I'm presuming Jean just dropped in there without her knowledge.
She did in the beginning of the episode. She put it all in the bag.
Brilliant.
So that's when there's a really nice scene actually between Jean and Hayley when they have like the scan and she sees that the baby's still alive and things. And I know it's a horrible line, but the way Hayley just goes, "I wish he was dead."
Yeah,
I just love Hayley, the way she shouts things.
But when she did that scene, and she shouted, "Oh, she was dead," you could actually kudos to the actress. You can see the shock in her face when she said it. So she's realised that. I shouldn't have said that. But it's not a very nice thing to say. But I that's how I feel. And Jean just let off on one. Like we've not seen angry Jean in a long time.
Really good. Really good scene.
She was just having a go, saying, the baby is a survivor like her.
And she says it's her chance for her to be a better mum than what Hayley's mum was to her as well. So we're getting these bits and pieces about Hayley's mum planted to us slowly, about how she's obviously not been great or not been there. I mean, it's not been mentioned anywhere, but do you think Hayley's mum might one day appear? I've got a funny feeling that Hayley's mum is going to appear when she's had the baby. Yeah, she must do. Another Slater. She has to. Even if it's just like a recurring role. Or just comes in and out. Yeah. If and when. A bit like how Jean was to begin with Stacey. But I'm glad Jean's now a permanent. She's been great. She's been like the best Slater. I mean, but she's had the meatiest storyline of them all. It's really. But the funny thing is, she's had the meatiest storyline, but yet it's not been really her storyline. It's been Hayley's storyline. So Hayley and Jean have really worked really well together. Yeah, Jean is obviously trying to be a mother to Hayley. Yeah, she's almost doing what she's telling Hayley to do, and that's she's giving herself another chance to try to be a good mother too. Better than she was to Stacey. Better than she. Well, she had Stacey was basically Jean's mum, wasn't she, when they were growing up? She was looking after Jean, wasn't she? And they would when she went to see Charlie, she would encourage Charlie to go visit Jean, or Charlie would encourage Stacey to go back to Jean, and it never really would work out too well for them. So next on Jean's list of things she's doing this week, she's now trying to set up who she thinks is the dad of Hayley's baby, because he needs to know and he needs to take responsibility. So she takes Hayley's mobile phone and phones her mum and asks her, any of Hayley's exes that you know about. But Hayley had said that she told the dad that it's aborted. And Jean said, well, obviously he needs to know. He needs to know. It's Jean said that the father would think differently if he knew that it wasn't aborted, and perhaps he needs to know. This was also when we found the information that Mo is 82 years old. I know. I did look that up like a few weeks ago, and I did say that to you, didn't I? Because I was laughing for ages. The fact that she's 1 year younger than Dot. Well, we were thinking about coming up with the concept of a game, weren't we? Where you involved ages of the characters, higher or lower of the ages. But yeah, 82. I know, she's great for 82. It's kind of silly though. But I guess they didn't think of that back when they cast her. They didn't think this far ahead. But also, you were comparing it to Dot, and Dot has been in EastEnders since. Well, Dot plays someone who's like 12. June Brown plays someone who's 12 years older than what she's playing, and obviously Big Mo is younger in real life and playing someone older. I mean, it just doesn't. No. Well, when you compare Dot and Big Mo to each other, they're like polar opposites. Well, Mo has aged. Well, to be fair, that's also the character, because Dot has always been holier than thou and very Christian. Yeah, she had a storyline last year of falling over a cat. or driving off the M1, whatever it was, and breaking down. You wouldn't find that with Big Mo.
But Dot didn't age. Dot hasn't.
She was
really...
jumping into coffins a few months ago.
Oh yeah, she was pretending to be
falling
dead.
on the floor and pretending all sorts.
Dot hasn't really aged though, has she? Dot hasn't. As in, what I mean is, like, when she first was in the soap to now, there's not been. It's almost like a cartoon. That's right.
Like
she's always been an old
yeah.
woman. Yeah, she's not. She's never gained an age. While Mo has aged as the program's progressed. Does that make sense? Anyway, Jean
for her.
Well, yes, good. We need to know her secret. What does she put on her
Fat
face?
Elvis, obviously, that's keeping her young.
Elvis is keeping her very young because he's
busy.
Yes. So Jean finds out who she believes is Hayley's father.
Yeah, this like greasy man in a suit.
Well, he's a married man, isn't he? And
married.
Because Jean said that she's a bit disappointed, and so Hayley instantly thinks, "Oh, it must be." But then
wait till she knows the truth.
Right. But I mean, did Hayley think that Jean was able to conjure up Alfie? If she thought it was Alfie,
I don't think she did. No, she didn't seem too worried, did she?
Oh, hey, I think Hayley was a bit worried. I think she thought she had twigged that it was Alfie but then afterwards I thought, well, Alfie couldn't get. It'd be one heck of a task. I know they have from Spain, exactly. I know they have a transport machine from the church to the hospital in EastEnders, as we've discussed in previous episodes. However, I think from Spain to the square, I don't think it's a matter of hours. Big ask.
So so Jean was sort of listening in the corner, and Hayley basically told him she's got an STI as the news to make him storm off and look like he just doesn't want anything to do with the baby.
Gonorrhea.
Yeah. Razor blades for weeks. The quote of the episode, that is.
Well, no, my favourite quote was when he was leaving and she went, "You might want to tell the wife." Oh, yeah. So unknown to Jean, she's probably ruined another relationship.
Well, that's why Hayley said that at the end, wasn't it?
I know, but that's
a bit of her own back.
Yeah, but Hayley was as much to blame as the guy.
She's naughty. She likes married men, apparently.
Yes, well, Jean got the wrong end of the stick with this father, and so wants to carry on looking, but Hayley's persistent, just give up.
Yeah, she says it's too complicated. It's a friend and he has kids and blah, blah, blah. So she's dropping little bits and pieces for Jean.
And Jean did say it keeps getting worse.
It does.
So
it does.
Says what we're all thinking.
So at the end of the week, we've got Hayley basically babysitting for Hope.
Well, no one can babysit Hope. Everyone's doing something. Whitney's gone off mumpy because she's broken up with Halfway, and then he's phoning her and she's getting a bit upset. More on that later. Kat's got a job cleaning E20 with Mo and Jean
and Max's
and then Max's house, which we got to see Max's pants,
tighty
whities, and Stacey is going up the Shard. Not a euphemism.
Taking Martin up the Shard. He's getting a lot for his birthday, isn't he? He got the christening, he got this little holiday, and he's getting the Shard.
He did only get a card, though. When he turned up a bit half cut on Monday, he got a card.
That's all he deserved then.
To be fair, that is all he deserved, because as like I say, we all predicted that what was going to happen, and it did happen. So Hayley was the last choice.
Again.
Yeah, exactly. Last choice again, on the insistence by Jean that she can do it. But unbeknown to Hayley, when she agrees to it, Jean's filming Hayley to keep an eye on her.
But like a baby monitor thing, app. So, and Hayley obviously knows this and starts talking to the speaker about feeding the baby alcohol.
But no, it's salt and vinegar crisps. And a double shot because it's happy hour somewhere. Before that though, you can see Hayley looking after the baby, and she keeps looking behind her as if looking for someone to help her. So, but her confidence grows. She's realised that Jean's watching her. She fools them, and Jean comes running back to the Slater house, and Hayley basically says, "I thought you trusted me. I thought you believed in me, and now obviously you don't because you can't leave me on my own to look after Hope." Basically boosts Hayley's confidence again and makes her believe that Jean is looking after her and wants the best for her.
And she almost nearly tells her it was Alfie as well. Like she's just about to say, "Okay, I'll tell you it's," and then Stacey walks in with her suntan and her hair flowing like she does.
The thing about her hair, do you think someone follows her with the hair?
I think so. She's one of them. It's in her like contract, part of her things. My hair always has to be flowing off my face.
Do you think in about 10 years' time it's going to be like when you see those like Murder, She Wrote or something like that, whenever they show a shot of Jessica Fletcher, it's always soft focus?
Yeah, it'll be soft focus on Lacey Turner. She had soft focus a few weeks ago, actually.
Did she? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was when Max, it was quite a while ago, when Max was talking to her in her kitchen, and it went to her and it was real soft focus. Do you not remember? And there was like, that it was like darkened edges as well.
Oh, was that when they were talking about getting the adoption and she was going to be a reference for him? Yes, I do remember that.
Soft focus and weird on her shots. Anyway, so yeah, they all come back and see that Hayley's done a good job. And then basically Jean says, it's okay sometimes to ask for a bit of help if it's around.
Yes. Now, who's the father? Tell me who the father is. Tell me.
Well, Stacey didn't interrupt. She would have known.
I mean, she might have told her who the father was also if Jean hadn't swiped her glass of wine so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Jean had her eye on that the minute the glass was filled up.
I'll have that, thanks.
Yeah, I'll have that.
Tells her off for eating donuts for breakfast, but 2 glasses of wine's okay. Apparently.
And pork scratchings and a bottle of squash. I thought that was so
Jean
brilliant.
needs to watch what she's drinking too. So that wraps up the Slaters for this week. So we're just going to have a little look on Twitter to see a few comments that we've got. So someone has noticed, Keza has noticed, Keza on Twitter.
Oh, hello, Keza.
Also known as Kerry Louise. She says, Hayley seems to have a thing for married men. Which is true. 2 out of 2 so far, married men. Alfie and the slime bag.
It's because she always goes for the weak. Makes her feel stronger.
Zombie 404, who is Vamp Lover.
Oh.
So they like the
Twilight series.
They say, Hayley has really grown on me since she's gotten closer to Jean. Which I think a lot of people seem to really like that friendship between Jean and Hayley. Let's just hope it's not ruined when the secret's out.
Oh no, I think Jean will stick to her thick and thin, and she's going to be the mediator.
Something that pushes her over the edge.
Jean's going to be the mediator throughout the whole situation.
Is it going to be a 3-hander? Jean, Hayley, and Kat.
Oh yeah, I like
3-hander
that.
episode.
I like that idea over a bacon sandwich.
Yeah. And then Ender's Analysis says, I can only assume Jean's obsession with Hayley, in which she fails to bother with her own daughter Stacey, stems from the regret of never being a true mother figure to Stacey growing up.
Lives to her name.
That's what we said recently. Yes. Yeah. Well, that's what we just said, didn't we? She's sort of seeing Hayley as a project of upbringing. So yeah, it's a nice relationship they've got.
Hayley, Jean needs a second chance, doesn't she? Well, not a second chance. She's not. I hate bad-mouthing Jean, but we have to always remember her past.
Her beginnings.
Her beginnings in the soap were very dark.
Because we watched recently her first ever scenes. And she wasn't very nice.
Just to get a bit of retrospective.
She was watching her TV instead of caring. What was she watching? Was it Weakest Link?
Yes, it was. It's always the weakest thing. In the early 2000s, whenever anyone was watching anything on TV on EastEnders, it was always the weakest link. Always. Now
that's why she's so knowledgeable now, you see.
Now,
all those episodes.
Now they're always either watching Bargain Hunt or some kind of antique show. What's that one when they're driving around in the car?
I don't know.
Antiques Hunt. So they're either watching that or the other.
So we're moving on to Jay and Billy have a storyline this week.
I know.
Always nice when they have a storyline.
I feel like we should let off a party popper. We won't.
I mean, it only lasted a week, but still.
Oh, I think there's more to come.
I hope so, because we had a new character, Jessica, the new flatmate. And she was really quite interesting, actually. She was like,
you learnt a lot in a real short space of time, and there's so much more they could do with her.
Yeah, so I am hoping she pops up again, because I feel like we just need a little bit more of her. So, obviously they're looking for a flatmate because all of them have died and or left the country.
Without anyone telling
Abby's gone, Ben's gone, Donna's gone.
All gone.
Billy's moved in.
And Robbie's gone, technically.
Yeah, Robbie's gone as well.
Robbie was meant to be another one.
He was there for one day. Lucky break, really. I think. I wouldn't like to live with Robbie.
I don't know why Robbie doesn't carry on renting it there, to be honest with you. Is there too many memories of Donna?
He loves Sonia and Dot. He likes...
and the cat, Colin. He likes Colin, waking up with Colin on his chest every morning, looking at him.
Speaking of Colin, we're still waiting for our Colin signature from EastEnders.
We are, just to drop
autograph. That one. So yeah, they're looking for a flatmate, and it's male only because they're lads, and they want it for like football and games. And
that's what Jay wants, but Billy's got other ideas because
Billy thinks Jay needs a love life.
Yeah, not a virtual love life. because he's sick of Jay constantly swiping left, and
he hates all this modern stuff.
He just doesn't understand it.
Maybe Billy should get on there, seeing as he's not with Honey anymore.
No, he's still trying to... at the beginning I thought, I wonder if there's going to be a Billy starts dating with Jay, like double date storyline, but no, he's still trying it with Honey.
Just because that's all Honey does, is be with Billy.
I know.
She's not with Billy, she's just not...
Although we saw a tougher side of Honey, didn't we, last week? Well, a grumpier side of Honey a couple of weeks ago.
A snotty side.
Snotty, snotty
snooty.
Honey.
But let's not talk about Honey.
I know.
She's not in it. This is Billy and Jay's week.
Of course.
They're looking for... Billy is wanting Jay to have a date, so he changes the application form for a flatmate to female only.
Female only. Vacant room for a woman.
And that's when Stacey's yelling at him at the bar because he's not serving her free drink yet.
Yes.
Just to put into context. That's all he did. Click one button. She was like, "Can I get served?"
Well, he's used to being downtrodden, isn't he? True. Being with Honey.
And Phil. So, there's 2 interviews come through for the flatmates.
Yes.
There's Rona and there's Jessica. So Rona's first up.
Yes, Rona's first up, and she pretty much says that you're not going to see me because I work hard at the city and I'm in and out. I go to the gym.
Don't want to be here, really.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm here, to be honest with you.
She's just saving up for a deposit for her own place, basically.
It's the cheapest one I could find, and in 6 months I'll be back out again. So that went down pretty poorly, but Jay
doesn't really care, does he?
Well, Jay was trying to push it, said she's got good references, she's probably going to be quite decent to, because we won't see her, so maybe we should think about it. But Billy's hand is revealed a little bit by this point because Jay finds out that he had put on the advert that it was women only,
and he said that Jay looks like Ryan Gosling.
Yes, I know. I mean, if you squint, but he did say that Jay said it one drunken night to some.
He's got like a similar bone structure, I guess, kind of, in his face.
No.
Like, kind of, but not really. He's a lot less Hollywood, anyway.
Wait,
he's a real Londoner.
He's a Londoner.
They then have the second person called Jessica appear.
Jessica is right
pigtails,
on point, yeah. So,
denim dungarees and crop top. And
stuff. Straight out of the 90s. She was ready to take the
for everyone asking, I mean, this is on Twitter later, but where is she from? Where's her accent from?
Ireland,
yes. There's a lot of confusion online.
Oh my goodness, really?
Mm-hmm. I know. She's actually from Ireland as well, so that's an actual Irish accent, and people are still moaning.
But they're moaning that she's putting on a fake Irish accent.
I guess so.
Oh, come on, people.
Silly. But anyway, she was really cool, and she was like quite a fun, strong character.
Yeah.
Although the thing is, she has that tattoo.
That's what I was just about to say.
Now, this is the thing, isn't it? So it's a fake tattoo, because you could see it was fake. It was like a transfer.
Yeah. You could even see the plastic.
Was it of a video game?
A made-up video game.
Yeah.
The video game was called Extreme Desert War 5.
Great graphics.
Great graphics. The fighting system was way better than 4. And the visuals would blow your mind. It's like when they came up with the title of that video game, it's like they just put random verbs and nouns in hats
in a bowl and
just went, right, extreme... Desert. Oh, it's a war. And then just spun a dice or something for the fight. Yeah. So, yes, as you said, her tattoo didn't look particularly real.
Which is always an issue, because obviously this can't be a full-time character then. Because she's going to have this tattooed on all the time.
There's that, or they can have her wear just a t-shirt. Well, just a t-shirt. She's not going to be walking around just a bra all the time, is she?
Isn't she? You don't know what her job is.
Is this what you want to happen in the soap?
You know what her job is. She could be doing all sorts of nude scenes.
Well, Billy sees, when they agree that Billy's going to move in, Billy sees her talking to Rainey.
Jessica's going to move in.
Jessica's going to move in. They chose on Jessica, and they decide on Rainey. She could have the tattoo removed.
Oh, yeah. That could be a storyline. That could take her through a summer 19.
That might be why she's away for 4 weeks. Maybe that's what she'll say. She's like, no, I broke up with my boyfriend, and I had my tattoo removed because he reminded me of him. Something stupid like that.
Yeah, but it's green. That's the hardest colour to remove, apart from red.
Or she could just bite the bullet and have the tattoo for the part.
That's dedication.
Yeah, but it's a contract.
Yeah, it's not a nice tattoo.
It's not a bad tattoo. It looks a bit like Tank Girl.
It's like a green fairy, wasn't it, or something?
No, it was a woman in like short jeans and like a bit like what she was wearing, actually, with the pigtails. So, yes, Billy bumps into Rainey. Doesn't bump into Rainey, bumps into...
she sees them talking and laughing, and Rainey's like zipping up her top a bit higher, isn't she?
Yeah. Thank you for getting me out of that hole.
Right. So Billy goes in and asks Rainey, basically, how do you know Jessica? Is she one of you?
Well, no, this is it. Right, so here we go. Thursday for me was
the charades of Billy day. So first of all, yes, as you said, he gestured at putting a needle in his eye, then swung his hands left and right and kind of looked a bit dizzy to indicate, does she take drugs?
Does she inject herself and get a bit dizzy?
Yeah, get a bit dizzy. And
There's some thrusting, wasn't there? Some thrusting motion?
That was later.
Oh, was that later? Oh, okay.
So when Rainey says that she doesn't, not everyone she knows are junkies. I know other people. Yeah. I know sex workers too. So Billy
Big
comes
spectrum.
Yeah. So when Jay is moving furniture around for Jessica, Billy comes running in. It's the next scene as well. To add. So he must have run from the car.
He's
lot.
still on a high, probably from the
fake injection.
Yeah.
And then he gets Jay to buy him some tablets because he's got a fake
Oh yeah, because they
injury.
carried that really heavy chair, which was so stupid.
And
that chair was so light.
Yes, even the EastEnders official Twitter account
made fun of it.
They kind of said, "Ooh,"
gestured,
gestured toward it. And then this is where Billy Charades 2 came in to be enacted, because when Jay went off to get the drugs, Billy then did, as you said, his "you're one of," and then kind of thrusted his hips forward. And from that, she worked out what he meant, which was nice, I suppose.
Because, she was really accepting, because Jay told her about what happened to him being on the sex offenders register and stuff.
Yes.
And she was really accepting. She said, that's fine, everyone has a past, blah, blah, blah. So this is obviously what is upsetting her, because now Billy is now being really judgmental to her because of her job. And he doesn't want her in the flat or the house because of what she is. Yeah, that's her biggest issue, isn't it?
But she said she doesn't bring her work home, but that still doesn't reassure Billy.
No, what would Honey say?
But that's what he said, wasn't he? He said, I bring my kids round
now
here.
We know how snooty Honey is. I'm not surprised Billy's worried.
Snooty tooty. That's true. That is true.
Oh, Frosty Knickers over there.
Oh, that's a good name for her. Let's start calling her that. So basically Jessica leaves, up sticks and leaves.
And this upsets Jay because he thinks it's because of what he told her.
Yes, there's sex offender information.
So now Billy's in a bit of a
bind,
predicament,
isn't he? Yes, he doesn't quite know
Typical
what to do.
Billy.
He lies and says that Jessica left late last night while he was watching a film, and she said she was going to see family. Jay says that she only family she has, he got a lot of information out of her. The only family that she has is her mother, and that he doesn't want her to be on her own while she visits her mother, and so phones her.
I mean, Jay's gotten quite obsessed with her quite quickly, hasn't he?
Really quickly, like in the matter of 2-3 days.
It's like she's been there for like a month or something, the way he's acting.
And also, I didn't see any evidence to say that Jay and Jessica were an item.
No,
it was just,
I think it's just in Jay's head.
You say
he,
that,
fancies her.
But then later on, Jessica kind of puts his mind at rest with the whole fake boyfriend.
Maybe she's been paid £100 to say whatever she has to say.
Well, quite, because Billy visits Jessica at the cafe and says that she needs to just put Jay's mind at rest.
Put an end to the story arc.
Yeah.
This 1 week story arc. Although the girl's Twitter, who plays Jessica, it says currently playing Jessica on EastEnders.
Oh,
so people didn't normally put that unless they're on it for like a long time, do they?
Well, no, I wouldn't have thought so, because it means having to change it again 5 days later.
So there is hope.
Yes, there is.
Because
it's a kid. Oh, sorry, that was a Robbie joke.
That's hopeless. That joke.
That was.
I don't know why everyone thought that joke was so funny either.
I don't think anyone did. I think Robbie was the only one who did.
And maybe Martin because he was drunk.
Martin did, yeah. He was tittering, wasn't he? While he's leant against the post.
That's why he's Godfather, because he's so funny.
Humour.
So yeah, she's now being paid by Billy to sort of go to Jay, tell him a little story to make him feel a bit better, and then leave.
Did you see Jay's face beam when she knocked on the door and she walked in, and he chucked a crisp in his mouth and was like...
It was like seeing a 90s pop star come through the door, wasn't it?
I remember you. I saw you at Power in the Park.
And then, she said this sort of thing, like her and her boyfriend got back together, and then she like kissed him on the forehead or the cheek.
Yeah.
And then went. But there was another scene in the cafe when Billy was paying her, and Rainey saw them both together.
I don't...
Was it like cut short? Was it like cut really suddenly, like mid-sentence?
It cut to... He was
about to explain.
Yeah.
Then it just cut away.
Yeah, he kind of went, no, it's not. And then it just cut, wasn't it? So
we thought we had a power cut.
We did.
Because it went to like a black screen for ages. It's like, what? But, so yeah, I don't know if they cut a scene there, or if that's it for Jessica, or if Jessica's going to come back and do something with Rainey, or ask for more money. I don't know.
I don't think that the scene would have explained Jessica's return in any way. But the only thing is that would that be used in future for Rainey to hold it against Billy with Honey.
She's used a prostitute or something.
Yeah.
To get rid of someone else.
But I think Rainey, I don't think Rainey thought that he was paying her for being a prostitute, just by the way she was kind of grinning and smiling about the whole situation. But it was nice to see.
She'll use it against him, though.
Yeah, but it was nice to see Rainey actually in an environment where she's not either being downtrodden or manipulating someone in a kind of nasty,
give her time and she will,
catty way. Yeah,
she's quite nasty, Rainey. Every time she's on screen, she's just she's really horrible.
Well, she was a bit mean.
She needs a few more redeeming features.
To make.
And I know that she's done this thing where she can't have children. She was meant to feel. But I don't know, there's a bit more she needs to be a bit more human, I think.
Funny thing is, though, that I actually really like Rainey as a character.
Oh, do you?
I do.
No. I didn't like her to begin with when she came back with Max. And then there was like a few episodes where she was okay, but then I've just gone off her again.
She's a bit light and shade. There's times when I'm just like, ugh, Rainey. But recently I've been, actually, I'm glad.
I don't think she's, the trouble is she hasn't got anyone who is a friend or she's nice to. Like, everyone is an enemy. So it's really hard to like feel for her or get connected to her.
Well, that's what I mean.
She's
it was
very
nice,
just plonked on her own, isn't she?
But that's why it was nice to see her have a friend with Jessica, and have her in a storyline which wasn't all orbiting around the whole Baby Abby trademark storyline.
So yeah, there's a few things on Twitter, which is, why is it that when I see the character Jessica on EastEnders, a Spice Girls song pops in my head? Now, you thought of Billie Piper.
I did. Because I want to.
EastEnders says, is Jessica gone for real? Because they're upset. Is she gone? I'm hoping she does pop back up.
I get the impression that she was quite popular, so I think they'll bring her back in some guise.
And then Anastasia says, can someone please tell me where the hell this girl's Jessica accent is supposed to be from?
Now, see,
I thought it was really obvious.
I've not seen any of this, and I'm puzzled by why this is an issue.
It's weird, isn't it? But Ireland. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, that's your answer. Ireland. There you go, Anastasia.
That one's for free. So we're going to have a little break now and go and do some I'm Doing This Now.
Just do this now.
Yes, it's that time of the week again when we jump back into the soap's past, pick a character and probe them to death, and ask what the actor or actress is doing now.
Who is it this week?
Well, on this edition, we delve into the life of a well-mannered character who, like so many before her, met Max Branning and started to unravel. This week, we are looking at Detective Constable Emma Summerhayes, portrayed by Anna Acton, from the 21st of April 2014 until the 2nd of January 2015. So another little short run.
I remember this. Her end was really horrible. It was like another unfair end.
In the hands.
Just realised it was quite similar to Abby. You would have thought Max would have maybe linked his past love, having to be like brain dead and stuff.
On life support.
Max doesn't care, he's over her. He got in bed with someone else straight after that, didn't he? Wasn't that when I think he jumped straight into bed with Denise Van Elton? She was in like one episode and they had like she was a really random character.
I remember that when
she was like a rich woman or something, wasn't she?
I've got I can't think of what context she was visiting him.
No, and then he like jumped into bed with her like straight away.
When they were but he sleeps with anyone. If all a woman has to literally do is have a pulse,
turn up.
Yeah, just turn up and be there, and he's like that. Right, trousers off we go. Anyway,
poor Emma. Anyway, let's learn a bit about
Emma. Learn a bit about Emma, yes, because some people might not know who we're talking about.
No.
Introduced as the police family liaison officer for the Beales during the beginning of the investigation of Lucy Beale's death, Emma is the character who tells Ian Beale that his daughter had sadly been found dead on Wolford Common. Now, do you remember how she got to Wolford Common?
She was dragged there by her stepmother.
Yeah, her wicked stepmother. While supporting the Beales as they mourn, she starts to make herself known with the other residents of the square, including Max Branning, who she bonds with when she confides in him about her relationship breakdown. Emma and Max start to see each other in secret, as Max is the main suspect of Lucy's murder investigation. Also, Emma's new boss, DI Samantha Keeble, doesn't like her very much and had investigated Max in the past.
This is a bit like the Phil and the Kate
I know.
Like Jill Halfpenny.
I put my hands.
Thing,
it's very similar. I put my hands up, and when I started doing the research for this, I thought
only the beginning bit's similar. How they had an affair while he was being investigated.
The demise doesn't end in a bad haircut and threats. It ends very differently. So Charlie Cotton discovers, which is obviously where Dot is at the moment with Charlie in Ireland. Charlie Cotton discovers Emma and Max's relationship, and Emma threatens to arrest Charlie, claiming he has been impersonating a police officer unless he keeps quiet. However, Charlie tells her that he is a special operations officer and tells her to end her relationship with Max immediately. Frightened at the prospect of losing her job, she does, but an upset Max retaliates and calls the police to reveal their affair. Emma is taken off the case and suspended for investigation. I mean, Max is such a spiteful person, isn't he?
He is horrible.
You don't want to date me anymore? I'm going to tell the police then. Sorry to any fans who likes Max, but sometimes I wonder. Max tries to get back in touch with Emma, but discovers that she is still engaged. She eventually leaves her fiancé, and after being introduced to his daughters, Lauren and Abby, moves in with him from her home in Clapham. I mean, it's not important that we know where her home was, but it was there, and I thought it was important to us. Emma's former boss, Keeble, encourages her to steal Lauren's laptop for the investigation, and she would help her in the hearing to keep her job. Emma does, but regrets it and confesses to Lauren. However, the evidence is discovered to be invaluable. Despite this, Emma still loses her job in the force. As she leaves the hearing, her former colleague and fiancé, Detective Cameron Bryant, tells her that it was Max who had made the anonymous call about their relationship, and she ends it with Max. Later, she finds an envelope addressed to her, who we later discover was posted by Lee Carter, which contained proof that Lauren had lied on her alibi to the police.
So many lies during this whole investigation.
The Lucy Bill investigation. I mean, it was a year of just one way.
That flashback episode had a lot of answers.
I love the trailer for the flashback episode when you see Lucy kind of watching them like a ghost from like above the Queen Vic. She was like slightly floating above the Queen Vic.
You still haven't found out why Billy had all those photos of Lucy Bill in his drawers.
Maybe he's trying to...
Red herring.
There's lots of red herrings, isn't there?
Yeah, but that one's never been explained.
Hasn't it? There was a few that wasn't explained, I think.
That's like the main one. Maybe Stuart will have something to say to Billy.
Maybe it'll come up later.
Maybe he'll do a hunt on him.
Yes. Emma shows the evidence to Lauren, and she starts to distrust her and thinks that she had started dating her dad to spy on their family. I mean, she wasn't that wrong. She kind of did. Despite Lauren's fears, Max and Emma get back together, and she spends Christmas with the Brannings and the Bills, but starts to ask a lot of questions about Lucy, upsetting the day. She continues to pry when they go to the Queen Vic, until she is stopped by Jane Bill, who reminds her that she is no longer investigating the murder and it is none of her business.
Yeah, well, Jane would say that, wouldn't she? Looking back.
It all makes clear sense once you... Retrospect is a fine thing. When an argument starts between Ian Bill and her then partner Denise Fox... I always forget those two dated.
Oh, that's such an awful pairing. Denise and Ian are like, no.
She's had a proper upgrade, hasn't she?
Yeah, Kush. Yeah, big upgrade.
Huge upgrade. She almost started dating her GCSE English teacher. There was always hints that was going to happen, but it never did.
No.
She could barely afford a pack of biscuits. Emma has a light bulb moment and rushes back to Max's home. After looking at her old case notes, she solves the case and calls the suspect and simply says, "I know you killed Lucy."
Why didn't she phone the police?
I think she saw it as a get-in back to the police force.
Oh, right.
On New Year's Day 2015, Emma arranges to meet the suspect in the park, but fails to convince them to confess. That was the bit when they did
it was
the
by
scene.
a tree.
Well, no, she was sat on the bench.
Yeah, but like a tree blocked whoever she was talking to.
Yeah, and she just talked directly at the camera. So that we were like the...
We were Jane. Then Jane.
The then Jane.
That was good.
Was it Jane that she spoke to then?
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't Bobby. Can you imagine she got Bobby?
It wasn't Bobby, it was Jane.
Well, no, it was Bobby who did it. But
but she was speaking to Jane about it.
Because Jane hid it.
Yes.
Back on Bridge Street, she tells the offender that she can no longer keep the secret. Seconds later, she is hit by a car driven by Roxy Mitchell that had been tampered with by Nick Cotton. She gets up from the accident and seems fine, but later collapses, and when taken to hospital by Max, she dies of a brain hemorrhage.
Bleed on the brain.
Bleed.
I remember like when the text came through, like everyone was standing outside the cafes, and like you just kept hearing like loads of text noises. So you couldn't work out who she texted, out who was stood in the lineup. I remember that.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. So you still didn't know it was Jane?
Didn't they also have like when she was like sent the original phone call? They've done a few times before. Lots of people had just hung up their phone.
Yeah, and there was like a meme going round of Emma Summerhayes with the phone up to her and like Kermit the Frog answering the phone because she said, "I know who it is" or something. And there was loads of memes of that, of different people on the other side of the phone like picking up.
I mean, it was a really good side story to go along with the Who Killed Lucy Bill story.
It was a shame they killed her, but it had to be done, didn't it?
It had to be done. It made
going.
And it also made it a neat, tidy end to then basically build up the very ending for like the person knows that they're getting closer and closer to finding out who actually did it for the live episode. So what is Anna Acton doing now? After her character's demise, the scene of the car crash was nominated for an Inside Soap Award in 2015 for Best Showstopper. But unfortunately, it was beaten. Can you guess what was beaten by 2015? Quite a big thing happened to EastEnders that year as well.
EastEnders?
Yeah, it was EastEnders won it.
Lucy Bill reveal?
The live episode, yeah.
Live reveal.
So that won it. So unfortunately, her own plot kind of overtook the other plot. However, this disappointment did not set her back, and she went into work later that year playing Nikki Chisholm in Casualty and Joanne Webber until 2018 on Doctors, both for the BBC. Anna also wasn't shy about going back to the theatre and had recently just finished The Golf, written by Audrey Cafferley in May this year. Performed at the Tristan Bates Theatre London alongside Louisa Layton, who will be returning to EastEnders as Ruby soon.
Yeah, Ruby Allen.
So there we go. That's where you come back, do a play, come back to the soap. In this two-hander, Acton plays Betty, who, with her girlfriend Kendra, has an isolated fishing trip on the Alabama Delta. They discuss small-town gossip, and as the evening progresses, tensions hit to a breaking point. Anna has also been working on an upcoming release of the film Birches, based on the novel Silver Birches, written by Adrian Plass. The story revolves around David Harrick, who is recently widowed, but goes on a self-discovering trip to a reunion of forgotten friends, while still trying to make sense of the death of his wife and learning to start again. Acton is starring alongside Todd Carty, another EastEnders alumni.
Mark.
Yep.
Mark Fowler.
Mark Fowler. He's not coming back either.
No.
Maybe Ruby should be worried. Maybe that's the story. They're going to bring her back and kill her a year time. Now, no release date has been given for the film, but it's generating quite a buzz, and I've been assured that it's coming out sometime this year. Now, if you want to find out any more information about Anna, you can find her on Twitter at Acton_Anna or Instagram at Anna Acton, all one word. And as always, you can find links to all her work and productions mentioned in the show notes, which just so happens to have our Twitter, which is at Eastenders Week, Instagram at Eastenders Weekly Podcast, Facebook and email eastendersweekly@gmail.com, where you can send us your thoughts and post us any ideas you may have for the show, or just say hello. We like it when you say hello. And that was what Anna Acton is doing now.
Just do this now.
Right, well, there you go. That was the horrible demise of Emma Summerhayes.
Not nice.
No. Brain hemorrhage. Not good.
You say it's so throwaway. Is that what society's become?
Yeah,
I just had a brain hemorrhage.
It is. So we're going on to, again, my least favourite story of the week, which seems to be a trend when it involves Ian or his restaurant. So, but we've got to do it. We've got to cover these things.
Well, this is like the longest opening in on planet Earth.
I know.
It was meant to be opening. There was a soft launch
Weeks ago.
No,
but he only did that just for Mel. And now he's probably just hiring Hunter just for Mel.
Well, he is only hiring Hunter just for Mel.
So he's hired Hunter again, even though he's already done this once and fired him before being a waiter.
Well, Jack goaded Mel because don't forget, Jack is Father of the Year, and he basically says that she's too soft on Hunter and that he needs to pull his socks up. When Jack was his age, he had a billion jobs, one of them working in the coal mines, and he works his way into getting into the police force, and he's amazing and he's great, and
Hunter should be just as amazing.
And Hunter should be just as much.
But she's a bit of a pushover, he sees, which she is, to be fair to Jack. She is a bit of a pushover when it comes to Hunter.
Oh, she's right. He's right, sorry. Yeah.
So she becomes all tough, hard mum and says, no, you can't have money for headphones. Go get a job, scrub a bog, or walk a dog. So he tries to take like a drink in front of her as well to like push her a bit more, and she still says no. So that's when he goes to Billy, and Billy's counting money, and he takes the exact amount that he needs for his headphones.
He takes an extra £20,
and then says back to Billy the money, what he got up to counting, plus
minus
what he took
20,
away. So
yes.
he's gotten away with that.
That was a sneaky snake move, wasn't it?
Lucky Billy's so stupid.
And then when Mel is trying to show off in front of Jack to say, like, yeah, that's right, good parent now, look what I've just done. Hunter comes walking past him with a bag.
With the price tag right on top of the headphones.
Yeah, proper old little one of those sticker guns as well.
So he's bought headphones when he shouldn't have. So she then says he needs to get a job, and this is where Ian sort of listens in and thinks, oh, I can give him a job and make Mel really impressed.
Yes, because in the chippy, yeah, Ian's listening around the corner. Like that's what he does. He waits for people to walk into the shop and then makes them wait for their fish and chip dinner.
Here's some gossip first. So he offers him a job at Wolford East. Without asking Masood.
Yeah, against Masood's wishes.
And he sort of has his first day where he's like chopping up vegetables, and he's doesn't want to listen to Ian talk to him, so he puts headphones in but pretends he's got music on, but turns his headphones down so he can hear Ian talking about Mel behind him.
Yes.
Hey, he's going to marry her one day.
If it takes 1 year or 5. Yeah. I mean, that's proper. I mean, that's almost the Michelle Stalker storyline. Isn't it, really? If there's a scene, at some point, if there's a scene of Ian following Mel while she's walking around the square, kind of hiding behind things every time she turns around thinking, someone behind me, then I'm sorry, but that's a stalker storyline.
The weirdest thing with Ian is when he keeps saying, I'm going to marry her. It just sounds really weird. Think about Jane.
Well, no one's thinking about Jane anymore.
It needs to take a year to get a divorce still.
Well, he needs to have Jane to sign for the divorce.
Well, yeah. Poor Jane. She's living it up with her brother and Saeed, probably.
Well, that sounds
having a
more
real
fun.
Good time in Brighton.
Yeah, I'd love to be doing that.
Much more fun. So Hunter also asked to go an hour early.
Yes.
But he sort of spins it saying he wants to surprise Mel with a meal so she can't see Jack. It's something like that.
Yeah, Jack's working or doing something.
So Ian thinks, oh, that's a good way to get Jack pushed out. So yeah, that's fine. So he just lets him go early to make this fake meal. And then the next day, Hunter's phoned in sick, has he now?
Yeah, he's phoning sick. And he then 2 minutes later spots Hunter walking around with a girl.
Oh, this weird girl we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Is he trying to make Louise jealous, is he?
Well, that's the end of that, isn't it?
I don't know.
Or do you reckon Louise and Hunter are getting back together again?
Who knows? I don't know what they're doing with Hunter or Mel, because obviously we know there's a big storyline in autumn, but we've waited a long time for this storyline.
The thing is that with a really interesting storyline, they give it a week, and they kind of like the Jay and Jessica storyline. Unless they bring it back in a few months' time, that's kind of that had legs, and that could have gone a bit further.
Yeah, they keep doing this year though,
where
they bring characters in for a week and then that's it.
Yeah, knock them back out again.
It's a week storyline. So Ian sees that Hunter's not ill.
Yeah, sees he's got a bag from Hungry Hank's, the rival fast food joint to Wolford East. And the Clunkies.
Yeah, but then Hunter makes Ian look good in front of Mel, so Ian forgives him again.
But it was almost like the old days when he was giving Hunter a thick ear. Like he's first of all pulled Hunter into Wolford East to have a go at him. Supposedly then he continued having a go at Hunter while he was walking toward going, and so bumps into Mel, and Hunter's kind of like, oh, he's great, he's that and the other.
He's
and
showing me who all his business is, and he's a great entrepreneur, and he's a great man, great leader and person for me. And that makes Ian think, oh, actually, yeah, that's fine.
Well, Hunter makes a deal with him. He basically says to him, I know that you want my mum, and the only way you're going to get my mum is by being nice to me.
Yeah, him planting all these good things. So the last thing of Hunter's week of awfulness is he then doesn't turn up to open the restaurant and get the delivery of fish.
Yes.
Which is hundreds of pounds worth of fish now ruined. So he again has another meeting with Mel and says, this is it now. He's got to be fired.
Yeah. But again, Hunter said, you won't fire me. Again, I think Hunter was playing with him. You won't fire me because you want my mum.
But then Mel plays with him and touches his shoulder and kisses him on the cheek.
Full-on kiss on the mouth this week.
Yeah, and then it's oh, okay, he can keep his job.
Yeah, which she said he needs a successful man to help him get in line. And then
he falls asleep again. doesn't he?
Well, at the end, basically, yeah, Ian's
with a broom on it.
yeah, Ian's talking to Masood, and he says, "Oh, he's a diamond in the rough. He just needs a bit of polishing." And then they walk up to, and there's a random sofa in the restaurant where Hunter is asleep with his headphones in his ears. I mean, I'm sorry if I didn't give this storyline much enthusiasm as we were talking about it, but I just don't have any enthusiasm for it.
No, it's very filler.
It's
like the whole storyline of Ian and Masood is filler, but this is like filler.
But this is my point. It's like they're obviously, this is filler, yes, but there's an ultimate goal, which is obviously going to be some kind of, he perhaps maybe manipulates Mel in the end, or Mel manipulates him, or something's going to happen, and it's obviously a slow burner that they've got planned with this.
But Mel's ex is coming back soon. So that's going to be another man in there.
A love square between Jack, Ian, her ex, and Mel. But obviously Hunter is the deciding factor. If Hunter likes you, Hunter will recommend you going forward. And I hate that they're putting so much time slowly into this storyline, and yet something more important where they could put good time into, it's just getting a week and then it's forgotten. Getting a week and then forgotten. So I'm sorry. Excuse me for not being too infused by this story, but I'm just not.
We got through it.
We did. We got there in the end.
On to a new week. So a few comments on Twitter about it. Kezza's back. Kezza Lou. She says, does Mel know Ian likes her? And is she using it to her advantage? Which I'm pretty sure she does.
Yes and yes. Yeah.
She does lots of looks to camera, so...
Well, she gives Ian one look and then another look to Hunter or another look to Jack, so she knows what she's doing.
Yeah. Kim says, it's easy to see where Hunter gets his manipulative ways from. Ian, you're an absolute mug.
He is a mug.
Bait Out Matthew says, Ian shouldn't have trusted a 15-year-old boy with opening up the shop to take an order in anyway during his first week at work, which is a fair point. It's
there's a lot of responsibility
on his shoulders.
Thinking about it, because you'd have to count the stock, the fish...
Yeah.
Very odd.
So there, Ian. So we're now going to move on to Stuart's rampage again. He's going through the motions.
Yeah, it's hotting up again with Stuart.
It is.
So he thinks he's got an ally with Halfway, doesn't he? He's convinced Halfway to stay with him. And he's got one problem, though, and that is Whitney is back. And she wants her man. Yeah,
a lot have happened in this week because I was thinking that was last week, but that was all this week with Whitney, wasn't it? God, it has gone. A lot has happened. So yeah, Whitney sort of decides she's going to take charge of the matter.
Yeah, she does. If Mick can't do it, Tina can't do it, Halfway can't do it, Linda can't do it, Shirley can't do it.
No.
Nope, Whitney's going to do it. So that's it. She takes the bull by the horns, goes visits Halfway. Nice little scene when she gets out the elevator and puts her hand over her nose and is like, "Oh, pooey. This place stinks."
So this is when Whitney's sort of going in to visit Halfway at the flat with Stuart, and Stuart's being a bit like creepy but nice and inviting her in and to the boys' pad and stuff like that. And she said, I want to speak to Halfway on my own.
Which he does.
Yeah, which is fair. Good for Stuart.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. I'm sure he's listening in, though.
Well, I think he thinks that because he's manipulated Halfway, it's kind of going to seep into Whitney. Whitney will do what... He's got kind of like the view that Whitney will do what Halfway says. But, oh no. We know Whitney's...
Halfway's such an idiot this week. I'm such a Halfway supporter, but...
I don't think he was an idiot. He was just just played, wasn't he?
Yeah, but really easily.
By Stuart. You have to remember, Stuart knows how... He's done Keanu. He almost did Kathy. Last week, you saw the disapproving look by Kathy.
Got it sorted. So, Whitney sort of hears Halfway's version and thinks... And he says, I believe my brother. He's my brother. I have to believe him. So Whitney then wants to hear Tina's side. So she then has a little chat with Tina, which makes her pretty convinced that Stuart's not a nice guy, because she said she's been around blokes like this her whole life. She's had this happen to her and she knows. So she sort of arranges to meet Stuart in E20.
Yes.
And they have like a big... She basically tells him straight up.
Yeah, she says, I see you for what you are, and I know that you did this to Tina. This is all under the watchful eye of Jay while he's waiting for his date. He's got stood up or ghosted.
Online date.
His online date, which becomes very important a bit later, that Jay has been watching on from a distance. Yes. And so after Whitney's warning that, if you don't try to manipulate Halfway against the Carters, and whatever, Stuart kind of uses the metaphor of thanks Whit, next time I'll buy you the drink. It's almost to say, like, next time I'm going to punish you for telling me what to do.
She's not as easy to push over as Tina was, is she? So this has upset Stuart. So he then goes back to the flat and acts all like coy and I don't know if I should tell you this halfway. And then he says, oh, she tried to kiss me.
Her hands were all over him. I mean, he is hot.
Yeah. Hot stuff. And halfway believes it.
He does, because he's in this captive situation.
Guess, yeah.
He's almost a prisoner, but doesn't realise it. And so any lies that are being fed to him is going to be true.
And like, even to like double up, he also tells him about Whitney and Mick as well, doesn't he?
Yes, he says he reveals that Whitney tried to kiss Mick, which is obviously going to really punch him, be this sucker blow into his face. And
Whitney and Halfway have this like big meeting in the cafe where he tells Arthur all these questions, and it upsets her that he won't believe her and stuff.
Well, Stuart kept also saying to him that Whitney wanted a man and not a boy. And it's obviously something that is, again, quite sensitive. He knows this is quite a sensitive matter with Halfway. Halfway always feels like he's, again, a bit like Hayley. Maybe Halfway and Hayley would get on quite well together. He always feels like he's second best. As Stuart's always been the one who's kind of stood in front of him and kind of stood up for him. So he always looks up, or has looked up to his brother as the person who is the man, while he's always been told by Stuart and downtrodden that he is the boy. And so kind of, as I say, Halfway's not been given any other, he's not had any chats or conversations with anyone else. Everything he's basically learning and getting fed is from Stuart only. And so who else is there to talk to and believe? Because he's kind of cut himself off from all the Carters. So the Carters are never going, he feels like he can't approach the Carters anymore with anything, even if it's just like, oh, do you have any spare tea bags or a cup of sugar? He can't even do anything like that. So his only friend is a bit like Stuart's only friend is Halfway. Halfway's only friend is Stuart. And Halfway is going to believe everything that Stuart says to him. Yeah, because it's his only source of any information or anything, isn't it now, is that he's sort of isolated himself because of Stuart. So Whitney's called it on her and Halfway with Tiffany. After all this stuff is said to her, she's really upset. So she's called it and says, I don't want to get back with him, even if she wanted to. Yeah, because they've broken up, because she said, what's happened to my good and kind man? Whitney loves doing this, though, because last year, like 4 times, she said, that's it, I'm leaving the square. It's like she always says stuff like this. She never goes through with any of it. I mean, to be fair to her, she does pick her men. She just says it for her screen time. Maybe, but she always goes for men who are a little bit, a little bit damaged. Weaker and damaged, and she's always the one who has to kind of, and I think it must be a bit exhausting for Whitney to keep being the one who has to mother and mop it up all the time. So they're the brothers, the Highway brothers, are out in E20 for a night out to make Halfway feel a bit better, and Halfway speaks to Jay and asks him, because Jay says he saw them both in E20 the night before. Well, Stuart's continued his belittling of Halfway as well. Yeah. He calls him a snowflake because he's not looking at other women, and Whitney's probably already looking at other men. And, all this stuff is, again, chipping away at Halfway. So he's manipulating him, much the same way as he did with Tina. It's almost like that game that they used to play. He's constantly chipping him and chipping him and chipping him to be completely submissive. Break him, yes. Doesn't take much to break Halfway. Acid! Yes, that's the song. Yes, I remember. So yeah, Jay sort of says, "Oh no, they weren't close in any." And he says, if it was anything, it looked like she was having a go at him, basically, and that makes Halfway kind of realise. Yes, Whitney was giving Stuart grief. It wasn't anything like how Stuart portrayed it and put it across, and didn't kiss him. So yeah, so Halfway, but still Halfway doesn't have it out with Stuart just yet. He still believes that maybe Jay got it wrong. Maybe Jay Halfway's a bit, he needs some time to think about it. Sit and think, I think, doesn't he? Go through it all slowly. Well, he has a bit of time, doesn't he? Halfway. He has a bit of time because Mick's friend turns up. Oh god. Dylan Box. Now, talk about drip. Well, there's a few things we need to say about Dylan Box. He turned up, and basically every answer he was giving was like, yeah, it's all right. I know that conversation between Mick and what was his name? Dylan Box. Dylan Box. God, who wrote that? Well, I don't know if it was written like that. Mate, it was almost like they just. You good? Yeah, I'm good. You good? Yeah. How's the business going? Yeah, business all right. Yeah. How's the wife? Yeah, the wife's all right. Yeah, not too bad. No wonder they're not friends with him anymore. All these boring
people.
But he again though, you're meant to see him as being a bit damaged.
I know he's a bit damaged. Yes.
Yeah, he's been
20 years later.
Yeah.
Has he just suddenly remembered, or has he always remembered?
No, he said he's always remembered, but he's trying to. It's the same as Tina. Well, not the same as Tina because it took a song and emotional memory to reopen the box. But yeah, he's always known about it, but he's kind of always pushed it back. And it wasn't until
I always known about it. Yeah.
I was put in the trunk. Yeah. I was burnt on fire with tyres.
Yeah, set a match, but not in front of me. So yeah, he's gone to the police.
He's already gone to
find
the police.
out and already given his statement about Stuart.
Yeah. So
to
Mick,
match up with what Tina's done.
And Mick and Tina see this as a bit of a relief. They think, finally, here we go, some collaboration. Yeah. That happened to me, Tina. Yeah.
Hopefully that's him. I mean, some of these characters where we're like, oh, we want to see a bit more of these. I'm quite happy with him just have one episode.
I don't know. I like Dylan Box.
Will he appear in a court case in like a few months, do you think?
Well, when he's getting questions, like,
surprise witness.
Yeah. Mr. Box, do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yeah.
How are you, Judge? Yeah.
Can I get out, please? I need a pint. Yeah. So they've gone to the old Bill and they're sorry, after
yeah. Yes, they've gone to the police, they've got their thing, and they turn up at Stuart's apartment
for historical assault.
Which this is kind of what makes Halfway really twig and think,
Well, he's not impressed because Stuart's acting really arrogant. So they're saying, can you put down the sandwich? And Stuart puts the sandwich to his mouth and starts eating it. And he turns to Halfway and say, put tea on, I'll be home by 5. And because that's how Stuart talks now. And yeah, his arrogance makes Halfway a bit like upset and a bit like, oh, maybe I am being played here. Maybe this isn't quite working out, quite works out the way that Stuart tells me it should be. It was nice to know also that the police believed Tina, because last week we were under the impression that when Tina...
that rubbish police officer. The police officer this time was much better.
She was great, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was right on it.
She's not corrupt.
No, she's cool.
She doesn't know where Vincent is.
More of her and less of Mr. Box.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to appear in 4 episodes, yeah. So yeah, they're doing all that, and there's also something when Halfway goes to speak to Tina to sort of apologise and listen to her, and she says, I just remembered it today actually. He said, chin up, princess. Just remembered it this morning. Dylan
said it, and that's what triggered it. That's why she remembered this morning. I know. It's a little bit a bit of a stretch, but at the same time, the whole thing with Tina is that it's kind of lots of different things has triggered the memories. So Dylan Box going, chin up, princess. Mate, chin up. She made her.
He must be really easy to break. He was probably the first one that's like Stuart broke. Mr. Box. He was like broken in seconds.
He said that he was the test.
Yeah.
That's why Stuart went a bit too far with him, and I think that's why he's so damaged. He went a bit too far because he said that he lit the tyres around him, in the boot with him in the boot. While with Tina, they lit the tyres outside of the car. Yeah.
So this is what makes Halfway think, okay, wait a minute, this is what our dad used to say.
Yes.
So he speaks to Stuart about it and gets him... Stuart pretty much admits it all by this point to Halfway, doesn't he? Because he knows he's totally messed up.
Yeah.
And he sort of goes from being this arrogant person to using the family card, saying, well, we're family, so you have to...
Well, he says
eventually you'll forgive me and you'll always be here for me because we're family.
Well, he says he regretted it, but he's regretted it since he had to lie for Mick. So again, he's pushing... The blame onto Mick and the Carters.
We still don't know what he did to cover for Mick either, do we?
No, I don't know. Again, I think this is going to be that thing that's going to be revealed right at the very end of this whole story. Because
maybe Mick used to play torturer with Stuart and Stuart covered. Something like that.
Well, no, because then Stuart would be the one who would convict Mick if that was the way. Oh, unless they played it together. No, I can't think Mick... We know he had a dark past, but I don't think he was that dark. I think he always knew when to stop.
Well, it's got to be something because Mick will be written out for like 3 months.
Oh yeah, he's having a bit of a break.
Must be something soon.
But I think this whole storyline is going to become a big crescendo, isn't it? Yeah, it's very exciting. So he's obviously imploring to Halfway to not leave, but that's it. That's the end of it. He said he hasn't got a brother. And later on in the
dead
week,
to me.
He says that his brother's Stuart's
He hands the necklace back to him.
Yes.
The one that Stuart just bought and made a story up about.
St. Nicholas. And Stuart's just left there on his own, lonely in his flat again. So he's on his own again.
He is. But he's got a new friend.
He has.
In Little Dennis.
Little Dennis.
Naughty Dennis.
The son of Sharon.
Yes.
Dennis.
So Dennis is trying to act all cool in front of these, not really friends, but you're not really sure at this point what these boys are. But Dennis is trying to act all hard in front of them, isn't he?
Well, I think Dennis does say that like he's got lots of friends at school, but that's kind of like that's what people say when they haven't got many friends at school. He says, "All right, Baldy, give me back my ball." And Stuart's like, "If you want the ball, you come and get it." And so Dennis is a bit hardcore. He's not intimidated. He decides, I'll go over. And Stuart calls the other group of lads Blazing Squad, which was a nice reference from
lots of good
2002.
references on Friday. I think Stuart kind of sees a little bit that he can obviously easily manipulate Dennis, but he also sees a bit of himself.
He
like
says
the way
that,
he was brought up, like at school. That's what Stuart's really good at. He's good at reading people, isn't he? That's like his.
He's good at reading
thing.
people and how to behave around them. And as you say, because he says to Dennis, one piece of advice I can give you is to go to a boxing club and learn how to stance and fight because it'll put you in good nick. Look at me.
Yeah. So this goes up to a new character we're introduced to.
Yes.
Which is a pizza man.
He was quite the cartoon character, wasn't he? He kind of came in and he obviously had too many blue Smarties before he entered the pub.
Yeah.
And he was proper over the top.
So someone had ordered 10 pizzas for the Carters.
Yes,
which
for the Queen
didn't
Vic, which they hadn't ordered. And they were all trying to explain to the pizza guy that they hadn't ordered these pizzas.
And can I just say quickly?
Yes.
He brought in 5 pizzas and put them on the thing. A lot of articles have been saying EastEnders writers can't count. He only had 5 pizzas. He said 10. He said there were 5 still on the moped.
Yes, again, maybe people can't listen.
No,
he does. He
it's
does
all
state
there
it.
if you listen.
And
if you can listen past all his colourful dialogue.
His white gangster act. I mean, to be fair, that was quite difficult to look past.
It was. It was interesting.
But he's winding up. He's winding up the Carters, isn't he? One by one. Mick. Linda's upstairs. We should add upstairs in bed.
Oh yeah, all day.
Not
and
feeling
all
very
night.
well. Yeah. So don't
Not
disturb
to be
her.
seen.
Not to be seen.
And then his moped gets stolen. So then he wants everyone out of the Vic to call. He's like causing quite a scene because his moped's been stolen. Tina's phoned the police, and then you see sort of Dennis sneak into the Vic and obviously take the keys from a handbag upstairs.
Yes, because everyone's distracted, everyone's out on the street, no one's in the Queen Vic pub. I mean, it doesn't take Mick, Shirley and Tina and halfway to be out there.
Well, halfway he's like, I'm going to go see Whitney. He just walks off.
Bye.
For some reason.
And so they were a bit silly to just all be outside. I mean, did they close the pub they must have closed the pub for the occasion, because then later on, after Dennis is given £100 by Stuart and the necklace, which is another thing, Dennis saw Stuart buy that necklace in the shop.
Well, he said go pawn it or something, didn't he? So
yeah, but Dennis last week saw Stuart buy the necklace in the shop. He was there and said, "Are you going to steal it?" So he knew that he had bought that necklace, and then he tells Dennis that was his brother's.
Oh yeah.
So
Dennis doesn't care, does he?
Well, no, of course not. He's thinking about the money, but at the same time, that's a bit of an error there. But anyway, Stuart then decides to break in to the Queen Vic and we know the time exactly because of the alarm system, 11:56 p.m.
He's up late. It's quite early for everyone to be in bed actually after a pub.
Well, pubs normally close at 11, but then I did think that at first. I thought, well, that's really quick, and they've even cleaned up all the glasses and cleaned up the pub. But they had to do statements at the police station, so they probably had the pizza incident, got back and just thought,
let's go to bed with a pizza.
Yeah, we got 5 pizzas.
Like, we'll eat it in bed.
Yeah, I'd keep the pizzas.
Stuart obviously breaks in, stands by the Vic and sort of acts like he owns the Vic, like the barman.
He kind of breathes in and out, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Gives
and then he goes
shots.
upstairs and does like, right, who is it is next on my list, or who's going to have it next? And he does like eeny, meeny, miny, mo and points at the door looking straight ahead.
Yeah, looks daggers at the door, meaning...
So he's picked... seemingly at random who his next victim is, but I don't know if he...
Well, no, because he knows the layout of the Carters, because he's been up there dozens of times prior to this.
So who do we think, whose door is it?
Well, see, this is my theory. Shirley is sharing a room with Tina, and Mick shares a room with Linda. So if he was to go into either one of their rooms, then to be fair, it's kind of 2 against 1, so his odds aren't very good.
He's not going in that night. He's just picking, that's his next target for future.
Oh, I thought that he was picking... that night he was doing something like...
No, I think he was picking like, right, who is next on my list to ruin, and he was just picking, I'm going to pick you off next.
But they're going to discover that the keys are missing, so surely he has to do something that night, or else it's just no point of... Because that was quite a big setup in order just to steal keys for him to go upstairs, go eeny, meeny, miny, mo, go back downstairs,
he might
finish
have
his
put
drink
something
and
in a
leave.
house or left a note for Like if he's picked Linda, for example, he might have put something in her handbag. Well, I don't know. Could be anything.
Yeah, but then that makes no sense for the eeny, meeny, miny, mo part. To me, I think it means that he's doing something there and then. Like Monday's episode is going to open with him going in the creaky door. And you're going to...
No, I don't think so. I think it's him picking his next victim. And then the next few weeks will be him homing in on that person. But, I mean, I thought it was Linda and Mick's door.
Well, I mean, it makes more sense that it's going to be Linda and Mick he's going to try to punish because he originally was...
Or halfway, because halfway's only just...
Well, I think it's halfway. I think it's halfway because he feels betrayed by his immediate blood family. but then
he's already done Tina.
Yeah, but my theory of that is that he was going to do it there and then. See, I thought he was going to get halfway, lock him in the boot of the car and do it all over again.
Yeah.
Play torturer.
Maybe we'll do it to Tina again.
Oh, I hope not. But then if he goes to Tina's room, Shirley's there.
Oh, yeah.
And Shirley won't take no
God,
stick.
She'll be up straight away.
Oh, God, she'll be there
She's
with a
light
baseball
sleeper.
bat. Knocked. Done.
She's probably having a fag.
She probably is out the window. No, quick one.
Yeah. All lots to look forward to.
But also, sorry to quickly add, anyone who watched it on BBC One on the night, I loved the continuity announcer at the end who went, "He's a scary one, isn't he?" I thought that was brilliant.
That's what everyone thinks.
It is.
Belton Roz says, "I'm absolutely loving the character of Stuart. EastEnders picked the right man for the job. Well done for being so creepy." Soapy Madam's podcast, who's one of our friends.
Oh, hello.
They said, "How scary is Stuart? Genuinely unsettling to watch. Props to Ricky Champ for playing him so well. Going to check my doors are locked."
He'll still get in if you've got your keys, Soapy Madams. He'll be coming in.
So there you go. So we're just going to pop off quickly and play a game, and then we're going to come out and do our poll of the week.
We're off to Martin's Market stall. Let's go.
Try saying that 5 times.
Right, we're here. Whew. Gosh, it's quite hot on the square, isn't it?
It's very... Yes, this room is very warm.
You think there'd be like an actual wind tunnel down Bridge Street, but there really isn't. Really isn't. Anyway, so it's time to play Martin Fowler's 5 a Day. Now, I will ask you a question, and you must list 5 answers that are relatable to that question, and you must wait after every answer to discover if you are right or wrong, and you have 30 seconds to give me 5 answers. Okay, you know the rules. Just for any new listeners, that was the rules. So we learned earlier in the programme that DC Emma Summerhayes had met her demise from a car accident on the square. However, she is not alone to meet her maker by an automobile. In 30 seconds, can you name 5 characters who have been killed when a car has been involved? This means that the death must have been caused by a car crash, being hit, a driving accident, a combustion, or crushed.
Oh, that's a little hint.
Yeah.
Do I get bonus points?
No. Well, by getting
no, for getting more than 5.
If you go for... You do this every time. You always say, I'm going to get...
do it quick before I forget.
Okay,
now.
Go. So I will not accept a different vehicle. So, for instance, Charlie Cotton Sr. died in a lorry accident. Okay? Ooh. And I will not accept Emma Summerhayes either.
What about Ruby Allen's dad who jumped off a bridge and got run over by one?
That's... not an answer, but I suppose that
is an answer.
When he wasn't hit by a car,
he was because he fell off the
bridge
into the motorway and got hit by a car.
But we don't know he's hit by a car.
You do.
Nope, there's no evidence of it.
Okay, fine.
There's no evidence of it online, so you don't get it. So I may have to retract that statement next week. We'll look into it for you. So are you ready? Do you know what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you've got 30 seconds starting from now.
Ronnie's real life daughter. Do I need her name?
Danielle Jones. Danielle Jones was struck by a car driven by Ginny Butcher.
Yeah. Jamie.
Yep.
Mitchell.
Jamie Mitchell had a ruptured spleen after being hit by Martin Fowler.
Tiffany.
Yes, Tiffany Mitchell, struck by a car by Frank Butcher while fleeing from Grant.
Yeah. Emma Summerhayes.
You can't have that. I told you they got 5 seconds.
I had loads.
And your time is up.
That's the trouble is you say the question and then you talk for like 2 minutes. Because I had like 6 listed in my head and now I can't remember them.
Well, we should write them down when you think of them. I need to put them into context.
Fat Boy.
Yes, Fat Boy. It was in 2015. He was locked in a car which was crushed by Ronnie, mistakenly thinking it was Vincent Hubbard inside. Go on, one more.
There was Roxy's ex husband also got crushed by her ex-boyfriend who was crushed by a car by Ronnie.
Carl White,
Yeah, Carl
2014. He was bludgeoned. This is a good one. He was bludgeoned to death with a car boot lid after attempting to rape Ronnie Mitchell after she had tied him up.
I just
and
remembered
left
another
him,
one as well.
Tied him up and left him in the boot overnight because she disapproved of his relationship with her sister Roxy.
Steve Owen was blown up.
Owen
in
in 2002 was a blast injury from a car explosion whilst being chased by Phil Mitchell. Any more? You got 6 there, no?
I know, I had loads in my head.
It's the timing. Maybe we should extend the time 45
The
seconds.
family in Coronation Street nearly drowned in the car.
That's Coronation Street. That's the Platts.
Car crash.
Do not say Platts on this podcast. That's a
They
dirty
didn't die,
word.
so it's fine.
Dirty word.
They didn't die, it's fine. But who else was there then?
Right, so there was, I'm going to chronological order. Stephanie Watson in 1992 was hit by a car driven by Pat Butcher.
Oh, God.
Just so you know, Pat Butcher, Frank Butcher and Janine Butcher all hit someone with a car. I know. They all need to have their licenses revoked. Pete Bill and Rose Chapman died in 1993 off screen in a car accident.
What about Kathy and Gavin? They died off screen in a car accident.
She didn't die, so it doesn't count. I knew you were going to say that. Debbie Bates in 1995 was struck by a car, and famously her husband and Nigel had to tell their his adopted daughter the news quietly on a park bench. Tiffany Mitchell in 1999, Steve Owen in 2002, Jamie Mitchell in 2002, Neil and Sue Miller in 2005. Rebecca's adopted parents died in a car crash, which Sonia discovered in a newspaper whilst fighting for custody.
They're not characters.
They were, for fighting for custody to get Rebecca back. Kevin Wicks died in 2007. Kevin died in a car accident when a pipe was driven into his head when he was driving erratically whilst being goaded by Shirley. Danny Ann Jones, 2009. Jack Edwards in 2010. Car accident, Carl White, 2014. I thought you might get this one. Tramp the dog in 2014. Abby Branning hit her dog whilst driving under the influence of alcohol. And then Fat Boy in 2015 and Summerhayes in 2015 as well. So there you go. So you did well after the time you got 6.
It's been a few years since there's been a car accident.
I was thinking...
With a death.
There's still Stuart.
Because Ronnie nearly died after hitting Summerhayes. She was in a coma and she was brain dead for ages.
Oh, yeah. It was all about Ronnie, wasn't it, that story? It was never about Emma. Anyway, so there we go. So that was Martin Fowler's 5 a Day. So it's your turn next week for a game. Looking forward to that. Yes.
I can get my own back.
You can see me struggle.
I'm going to half the time for my game, I think. You only give me 30 seconds.
Well, I
give
did
you
say
60 seconds.
I know. I might double it because you're quite right. Maybe because I have to explain the answer and you need a bit more time. Anyway, we've got a little bit of time left over to talk about the poll of the week this week. As I say, we always post the poll of the week at the end of Monday's episode of EastEnders when it's broadcast in the UK. This week we asked, with the opening of Wolford East upon us, which items would you like to order from the menu? We also asked you to share something else you might fancy in the comments. The offers were Chachi's Samoa Starter, Bill's Chili Bean Burger, Masood's Masala, and I thought this was really clever, Mel's Hunter's Chicken.
Wow.
I came up with that during a dog walk. I was so chuffed.
I want to know where Chachi is.
Yeah, but they've
disappeared.
They've not. They don't leave their house, do they? Because they don't drink, so they can't go to the pub, and they don't go to the cafe because they like to save their pennies. So they're a bit of a difficult character, really, because they've got nowhere to go to socialise other than if they're in the street or in the Minute Mart, having their picture taken on Instagram. So, with those options, what do you think most people want to eat from that menu for Hunter to prepare for them?
The bean burger.
The bean burger certainly was popular, but not the most popular. So the most popular was a joint effort, actually. It was Chachi's Samoa Starter and Masood's Masala. So everyone wanted a bit of the Eastern. That's right, the Eastern part.
Take that, Ian.
Yes. Well, we all knew that Ian was piggybacking off Masood's plan. Bill's Chili Burger came in second, and Mel's Hunter's Chicken was last.
So the one you were most proud of.
I know. That's why I was quite upset, really. Right. Yes, there was a comment. It was from at Sabrina Watch, which is more commonly known as Sabrina the Teenage Witch podcast, also our friends. So hello. And they said, why choose one? They're all available under the Big Mo special. So...
That's how she stays young.
But I did question how she cures her bacon, since we know where she hides the money whenever she's trying to keep it secret from other people. So no reply to that. Perhaps for the best. But as always, we love it when you get in touch with us. You can find us quite often on Twitter, which is at Eastenders Week. You can also find us on Instagram, which is at Eastenders Weekly. Email us, eastendersweekly@gmail.com. And you can find us on Facebook if you just search for Eastenders Weekly. And yeah, just get in touch, say hello, give us some comments. And we always live tweet whenever EastEnders is broadcast in the UK. And so you can keep up to date with us there too.
That's great. And I think there's a man at the door. What did he just say?